You guys are wanting to move to Idaho because you want to be in the outdoors. You want to be able to ride your mountain bike out your back door, play pickleball with your neighbors, or maybe just go grab a pizza and a beer with some friends. We've got the neighborhood for you.
Yes, here in Avimor and Eagle, Idaho has it all, and with plans to bring a vineyard and a golf simulator. And do you want a place to park your Lamborghini or McLaren? A dealership is coming here.
Stay tuned. We're going to get into all those details right now.
Avimor is just situated north of Eagle, about 15 minutes from downtown Eagle, west of Boise in the foothills. Now, what is amazing about this location, even though you're set out just a little bit, is you are close to Highway 55, just off of it, and that gives you great access to McCall, Donley, Cascade. You get about a 20-minute head start by anyone in Boise. You're about 10 minutes from a Winco and a Home Depot. You're about 15 minutes from Eagle, as well as the Boise River, 25 minutes from downtown Boise, Trader Joe's, Costco, and about 35 minutes from the Boise airport.
One of the great things about Avimor is that they have these trail systems. So we're going from the park. As you can see, it turns into a trail just right here within the neighborhood, and it's connecting, like the different spots together. We're up on the hilltop right here, and as we walk down this trail, it just kind of winds and meanders on down to another section of the neighborhood. And I mean, tons of miles of these trails, right, Rachel?
Yeah, there's over 100 miles of trails for mountain biking and hiking, and like Cameron said, that is the heart behind Avimor, is to connect these different areas of Avimor. And one thing that they've thought of, you want to get to the other side of the highway and visit those trails, they're putting in underground tunnels for you to just go under the road. So you don't have to worry about your kids trying to cross a highway or even your family. You just go under those tunnels. There is one right now, and they're putting in another one here soon. Another great thing, so you love mountain biking, you love hiking, but say you have some of those outdoor toys, Avimor has trails for ATV and UTVs, and you sign up for those through the app. So it is only for Avimor residents, but what an amazing amenity to have in your backyard.
We came here, we're just coming to this fork in the road. I mean, we can head to the neighborhood that way. You can also take this trail over here, and as we're looking, I'm seeing a trail just off in the distance there as well. Like, there's so much to explore out here. If you're on a bike or you're walking your dog or something, it's really, really cool. I'm liking what I see.
You have all this great foothill access, but Avimor also provides you some amazing parks. There are 7 parks in Avimor, the biggest one being Heritage Park. We're going to go there next, but it has a soccer field.
Baseball diamond, pickleball courts, basketball courts. I mean, it's just a really cool spot for all of the different sports you're looking to play, or just space to run around in. I mean, it's really cool. Rachel, tell us about the fishing pond.
Yeah, so as we're heading to Heritage Park, they do have a stocked fishing pond here in Avimor. So that's another great outdoor activity to do here in Avimor. Let's talk about your school options really quick. There are a couple public school elementaries here in the area. And then for junior high, you have Eagle Middle, and then you'll have Eagle High School for your 9th through 12th.
Yeah, and Idaho Novus Academy, you can see it in the background there. That's a new public charter school that's located right here in the community. And now keep in mind, again, this is a long-term development. They're going to be having more schools come in as it gets developed. But for what we have right now, Idaho Novus is a great option, but just know it's a lottery system. So you need to get your application in early if that's something you want to take advantage of. Currently K through 7, right?
Yep.
And they're going to be adding a grade every year until they are serving the full spectrum of education, K through 12. If you are looking for information on Idaho or planning your move, Rachel and I, our heart is to help you guys make this transition as seamlessly as possible. And so we help people all the time relocate to Idaho. Give us a call, email us. We'd love to answer your questions and maybe help you plan that trip to Idaho to explore the area and see where best suits you.
We are standing in front of the community center here at Avimor, and one of the great things here at Avimor is the sense of community and just the vision that the founder has to bring community together where people know each other, not just by face but by name.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about the relationships that you build. Like, that's what makes a small town a small town. And earlier we were talking with Dan, the principal and founder of Avimor, and that's what he's after. And so they have the Art of Living director who's responsible for planning, we talked to him just a second ago, over 100 events per year designed to get you rubbing elbows with your neighbors, meeting the people that you live next to, and just establishing those relationships early and often.
Yes, and within the community center, they host over 28 different groups or get-togethers, from cards. They have a dance floor in there, to crafts, and they even offer swimming lessons. There's an indoor pool that's half the size of an Olympic pool.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. They said that originally when they built the community, it was planned as an outdoor pool, and they wanted to just have a year-round swimming option. So again, they adapted to what the community was looking for, and they said, hey, let's just throw a covering over that, we'll enclose it, and have year-round swimming in this heated pool, which it's really nice. And the locker rooms and bathrooms are really nice too. So you have a place to put your stuff, and like, it's just really, really well thought out.
Yes, and in there's also a fitness center that's got state-of-the-art fitness, and then as well there's some meeting rooms, and there's a library right inside where you can check out books, or even if they don't have the book, you can have it delivered and it's ready for you probably by the next day.
One of the ways that the community members stay informed here is, so the Art of Living director also puts together these newsletters, and they've got all kinds of like the different events that are coming up. Inside there's even like trail maps, so you know where you're going. If you're gonna be riding your bike or doing some hiking, you have all the information you need right in there. And just combing through this this newsletter, they've got some fun stuff coming up, so definitely worth taking a look at if you're going to be coming out to check out Avimor anytime soon.
Here in Avimor, right here in this plaza area, weekly on Saturdays, they host a local farmers market. How great is that to just step out your door, bike down, walk down, and come enjoy some locally made goods? Yeah,
all the way until October, they're going to be holding this farmers market again weekly. I actually have a friend from church who's making sourdough and going to be selling her sourdough loaves right here at the farmers market. And let me tell you, she's given some to us before, and it is so, so good.
And as well, another thing that Avimor does is they do concerts throughout the year. Those will actually be hosted over at the barn. They're going to do a great Easter egg hunt here for the residents. I think they said they have about
like 10,000 eggs or so. Like, that's
so
a lot of
eggs.
So,
but he says they all get picked up, so it's a great time for families and kids. And then as well, they have sheep in the foothills, where they bring sheep in, and then they actually do a sheep shearing demonstration for families.
Yeah, what a fun event for the kids. I mean, that would be awesome to get them to see that.
So that's right here at the community center. We're gonna go check out the local restaurant that they have. We're gonna check out some of the outdoor amenities like pickleball and the amazing trail systems that they have here. So let's go.
Just to give you an idea of some of the commercial opportunity that's gonna be here in Avimor, and I say that from a consumer standpoint, because if there's not a lot of shops or coffee shops or places to hang out or spend time, the neighborhood, the community can feel kind of dull. So for me personally, I'm looking for a space that's like, like a yoga center or a coffee shop, or like some sort of clothing outlet store, something like that. Well, that's what they're gonna be putting in right here in the village center. So right now, this is the entrance to Avimor. They've got the gas station, the restaurant right here, the community center, which we just showed you, and then the village center is gonna be right across the street from that community center. And then you can see lots of parking. All this perimeter right here is all gonna be space for different shops and stores like that. I mean, potentially even, maybe not this spot, I don't actually know, but there's even conversation of putting in like a large chain grocery store. So that limits your trip to town. I mean, cutting off, maybe 5 minutes to the grocery store instead of potentially like 20, 25 minutes to the grocery store. That would be huge. So we're standing in front of Spring Creek Brewery right here. So some of the locals we talked to said we have to try the Broken Horn Burger here at the Spring Creek Brewery, and also Lori's Porter and the Ribbons of Euphoria IPA were some really awesome beers that we had to check out.
And the pizza rolls that a local kid that lives here in Avimor actually created while he worked here. So let's go check it out.
All right, moment of truth, folks. So this is the Wagyu burger, Broken Horn burger. Well, let's see how this goes. Actually, I promise, I'm not trying to sell these porters. That's actually pretty good. So this one is Lori's Porter that I ended up trying, and it's a cool story. The owner of the restaurant, he said he started as a home brewer, and he basically This was one of his first brews that he developed. It's like an award-winning porter, and it's called Lori's Porter because that's his wife's name. So he spent a lot of time, and he said he basically like hundreds of recipes to try to get to what it is now. And so he's like, I mean, something so perfect, he's like, I gotta name it after my wife. So Lori's Porter. So that was a delicious meal. One more thing I wanted to highlight about Spring Creek Brewery, just been chatting with Jeff, the owner here, and he's just a really solid guy. Come to find out, he actually employs a lot of the locals, like the local kids and teenagers here in the community, work right here. I mean, obviously on a rotation as people transition and go to college, things like that. But it's a great way to support the community. If you are going to come visit Avimor, make sure you stop by your Spring Creek Brewery. I was really surprised by how good this place is, and it's just a really cool place to hang out. I would love to have a restaurant like this just right outside my front door. Avimor, being in the foothills, they are one of Idaho's first fire-wise communities as well as a water-wise community. What does that mean, Rachel?
So that is one thing I was most impressed about when we've been here talking with people in Avimor, is they highly considered that when they built this area. So the houses are built with fire-resistant materials. All the landscaping in Avimor is designed to reduce wildfire risk. They use fire-resistant and native and drought-tolerant plants front and back, and these plants require less water with the water conservation.
One of the main ways that they conserve water here is they use a smart irrigation timer, which is I thought was really, really cool. It's a fancy word, evapotranspiration. Basically, they're just measuring how much water is actually in the soil. So like on a rainy day like today, all of the timers are going to set to water a little bit less, if even at all, because it can measure that there's already water in the soil. So they're saving a lot of water that way, and I think that's pretty cool.
And that's why Avimor put all these things in place. They are the first community in Idaho to do the water conservation system and the fire-resistant buildings and landscape.
Our goal for these videos is to be as informative as possible, but the reality is the video can only go so far in informing people. So if you are really into Avimor and this seems like a good fit, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll go into a deep dive if this is the right place for you. We're here talking with the principal of Avimor, going to tell us a little bit about what the vision is, why he decided to build out in Avimor. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your role?
My name is Dan Richter.
Okay.
I'm the managing partner for the Avimor Development Group, which is a 30-year vision of my partners and myself to build a lifestyle like I was fortunate enough to grow up in a little town in Montana, and my partners were fortunate enough to grow up in here in Idaho, a town that people know each other. They know people, names, and they communicate. They get out and do things together, where kids are safe to take their bikes out in the morning and tell mom I'll be home at dinner time, and mom feels, secure in that.
Yeah.
We get people out to meet each other. We want people to know their neighbors. This was an idea we started looking at in around 2003.
Okay. Yeah.
And we came up to look at another property, actually, and it just wasn't right. And it wasn't far from here. And somebody said, you ought to talk to the McLeod family.
Oh.
So we spoke to the McLeods, and they had, 35,000 square miles of ground here.
Yeah, like that.
And so we took 23,000 square miles and put it into a trust. And a community like this would not be viable if you had to go in and buy 23,000 acres. They're going to take 30 years to build out. It just wouldn't pencil.
Yeah.
But the McLeods are my partner. They saw the way some of these other farms and ranches were being developed, which didn't make sense to them because they always had a vision. They always shared this land with the public and invited the public to come up, and the public helped them when it was time to brand.
Right.
People would come from town to help them brand.
Right. When they had the rodeo over there for a while that they let them use too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're hoping one day we'll have the rodeo back here in Avimor. They wanted people to see a lifestyle like they were lucky enough, fortunate enough to grow up in.
Yeah.
And that's why I hit it off so well with them, because I grew up on a farm and ranch in Montana and got into the development business. And when we came up and we met the McLeods, we just shared the same vision.
I didn't even realize that it was it's expanding on the other side of the highway too. And just, seeing this map here was like, oh my gosh, this is the, just to show, this is the existing Avimor.
Comes down to about here.
Yeah, about there. And then this is on, obviously here's the highway here. Here's because is this being...
This is being built on now. That's being built on right now.
Okay.
This will open up here late this year. This will come on the following year.
Yeah.
But we're also opening up these lots this year.
Okay, nice.
And we'll open up these next year.
Well, and just to think that like because this has been here obviously for a while, but like that's just a teeny tiny part of the vision of how vast this place is going to be.
That is 800 homes of the ultimately 10 to 12,000 homes that'll be here.
Yeah, but still, because like you said, the plan is to conserve. So do you know roughly like the percentage-wise how much is going to be conserved?
I think it's going to be close. Here where we are now, this first 800 homes, we have 70% open space.
So
cool. and this is going to be one of our densest areas. So 60 to 70%. So let's say it's 60.
Yeah.
That's 15,000 acres of open space. We've been working with the mountain bike community since early 2000s.
Yeah.
Years ago, Bogus started keeping the slopes open in the summer for the bikes.
Yeah.
And everybody said, well, gosh, it'd be great. All the bike community came out here and said, boy, you need to really get in on this because it'd be great if we could go up and ride our bikes on the lifts in the morning and take that one last monumental run, mostly downhill.
Yeah.
And so we've been working with BLM, the Land Trust of the Treasure Valley, everybody, and we're really getting close to where someday there'll be a bike trail of different levels for different levels. They can take that last run at Bogus and then ride their bikes all the way down into Avimor on mostly a downhill trail.
What are some of the big notable things? Like even just, a clubhouse with a golf simulator that's got my vote. Like,
well, we are probably one of the very few in the valley. Our community center next door has a public library.
Oh, that's right.
It has a indoor pool, which is half the size of a Olympic pool, so they can you can do the laps and all of that. We have a meeting room, and of course a gym.
Right.
We're getting ready to build the next community center, which will, instead of having indoor pool, we'll have the golf simulators.
Yeah.
But it'll also have the meeting room and also have a gym. And it'll have some pickleball courts located with it. Rather than do like some communities where they'll take and they'll put in 18 pickleball courts all together. That's great for some communities when they get a lot of homes into a smaller area.
Right.
But we're 23,000 acres.
Yeah.
And if somebody that's over on our far west wanted to play pickleball and they had to drive 8 miles to come over here and do that, they wouldn't be happy.
Right.
So we're spreading them all through the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You can still do the tournaments, community tournaments. You just might have to travel. The guy that lives over there might just have his first, match here. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we're just trying to make sure everything's, wherever you live at Avimor, you're going to be close to one of the things you love to do.
One of the other notable things that Brad had mentioned is like the McLaren dealership and all that kind of stuff. I'm just curious, like how did that come about? Like was that always part of the plan, or like did that just come together?
No, that was one that just kind of fell in our laps.
Yeah.
I did not realize that there were that many exotic cars in Boise. But the reason they want to build here is because if you own a McLaren or you own a Lamborghini or any of these exotic cars, you have to load them up on a truck and ship them to San Francisco or to Seattle to have the oil changed.
Right.
So these people that are moving in here will not sell the new ones because you have to have a showroom built out magnificently. Right. But they'll sell the used ones. If you want a new one, they'll fly you to Seattle and sell you a new one.
Yeah, right.
But you'll be able to get it serviced right here. And they team up with another group out of Seattle that does indoor shooting.
Right, security.
Security, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're building about a 45 to 50,000 square foot indoor shooting facility. And I did not see that, but Brad went out to look at the one in Seattle. He said it's incredible.
Yeah, I pulled it up online. After talking with Brad, I pulled it up online, and it's like they've got a whole setup over there. It looks awesome. For Avimor residents specifically, like the gun range, because I wasn't exactly clear. There was a gun range at one point, but you guys got rid of that to build somewhere else, like an outdoor shooting range besides the security.
And we still have the original one.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be built on here pretty soon.
Sure, okay.
And that's just a place where guys can go out and shoot their shotguns or their rifles, or before hunting season, sight their rifle in.
Right.
And it's just on the other side of the highway on our north end.
Okay.
And so going forward, we had a group of homeowners that wanted to make sure we always had a place. And we said, all right, we will give you the land if you can get everything approved. So they got everything approved. At that time, now it's in the city of Eagle. At that time, it was Boise County.
Gotcha.
So they got it approved. And now we're up there crushing rock and everything. So it should be open late this year or early next year.
Yeah.
And they're actually even talking with all kinds of other groups that would be able to use it. It'll be a big range.
Okay.
Accommodate a lot of people.
One thing you touched on too that I was going to ask you about, because obviously the first phase did not have that CID, whereas the current phases now are going to have that. What is that CID going towards? Because that's a question we get a lot.
It goes towards public infrastructure.
Okay, those types of things.
Those types of things. Yeah. And that pays for a lot of public infrastructure.
Yeah. Okay. Like all the stuff we were talking about.
Just the roads on Highway 55 improvements with the tunnels underneath.
Yeah.
The one that we just built is almost 10 million.
Oh yeah.
The one that's going to be out here is going to be about 35 or 40 million.
That's wild.
And then we're also contributing 10,000 times, about $50 million from the mouth of the canyon to Highway 44.
Yeah.
Improvements on 55. We'll do another 50 million of improvements there.
One other question that we saw popping up a lot is because there was some water issues like early on. And I think Brad was saying you guys spent like, what was it, 25 million or something to fix that, and then ended up donating that system to Eagle. Can you talk more about like what happened there, like what the issue was exactly?
Well, it's, it wasn't an issue just for us.
Sure.
It was anybody that faces doing development in Idaho.
Right.
Water is a precious commodity, and people don't realize how precious it is. So when we started here, we did an agreement with Suez at the time. Now it's anyway, a private company. So we brought water up from Hidden Springs all the way up here for our first phase here. But when we annexed into Eagle, Eagle said, part of Eagle, you have to develop your water system and then give it to us.
Oh, okay.
So that's what developers in Eagle have to do.
Sure.
So we went and got the wells done, and they're on Avimor. And then we put in the, force main, 20-inch force main that'll serve pretty much everything all the way over to the western boundary of Avimor. Yeah. And the tank and the pump stations and lift stations. And so it was about $25 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we gave it to Eagle, and now we have to buy water from Eagle through the system we built. And it's not as much water. When we built Avimor, we also built the sewer plant. So we have to build a plant that handles all of the wastewater. So we said, let's do two things. Let's make our houses that we build more efficient. So they send less water to be treated. Right. And number two, let's treat all the water to a level we can reuse it for watering our parks and gardens and all of that. So that plant is to that capacity.
That's awesome.
So we have an average home at Avimor sends 110 gallons a day to the wastewater treatment plant. Okay. That is about, in town it's 250 to 300. Wow. So we're less than half that we have to.
That's wild.
And then of that water that goes to our treatment plant, every single drop of it gets reused again for irrigation. So we're using a fraction of the water. Yeah. We're using
using it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Energy, the same thing. We had to build a substation out here, much like, and so we thought, let's make our houses more efficient so we don't have to add on to that substation. Because at the time, the substation was $4 million. Villanova just built one at this time, and it's about the same as ours, but now they're $15 million to build. So we said, I don't want to have to build another one. Let's make our houses efficient. Yeah. So they are. Our houses use about, 40% less energy than a house built, the normal house built in the valley. Okay. Just things like, and for electrical use, our hot water. Although we heat with a lot of hot water, we put a circulation pump in so that when you turn your water, before I moved up here in my house in town, I'd turn the hot water on in the shower, then I'd go downstairs and make myself a cup of coffee. By the time I got up there, the shower might be hot. Yeah. In the meantime, all that water had gone away. You're using all the power to pump it. Yeah. With us, we got instant water. Yeah. You had all the taps, hot water. And so we are more energy efficient, more water efficient.
What would you personally highlight as the most appealing aspect of living in Avimor?
The most appealing part of Avimor is, and I think we talked about it earlier, Sandy McLeod and I and the whole McLeod family hit it off because Sandy, growing up, grew up in Marsing, and he could jump on his bike and he could be gone for the day, and nobody cared because they knew he was safe.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a little town in Montana. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
And we were both ranchers and farmers, and so we shared the same exact background.
Yeah.
But we want a community where people can give their kids a little bit of freedom to let them go on their bike
Right.
and take off. I mean, and they can feel really safe because, I mean, we have a few places here. I think there's 3 or 4 now where the bike trail goes under one of our collector roads, which are just a collector road, not that busy, but we put a tunnel so they can ride their bikes under the road, even here within the community.
Yeah.
So people feel safe. And, you know, I want the kids at Avimor to be like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I could say, bye, Mom, I'm leaving. She'd say, okay. And that's right after breakfast. And she'd say, okay, be home for dinner.
Yeah.
And she didn't worry about me. She knew I was being safe. And she knew that the people that we lived around and the community all knew each other. And, you know, I grew up in a town not very big, but I probably had 300 dads there that would spank me if I got in any trouble.
Yeah.